think it's important to say up front what slow living is not, right? It's not about doing everything very, very slowly. That would be absurd, it would be preposterous, right? I love speed, faster is often better. We all know that, right? Slow with a capital S, this slow revolution is about doing things at the right speed. So musicians have a lovely term. They talk about the tempo giusto, the right tempo for each piece of music. That kind of gets at what slow is all about. Sometimes you go fast, sometimes you slow things down. You play with all the different rhythms and tempos and speeds in between. But if you go deeper with slow, it's really a mindset. It's quality over quantity. It's being present in the moment. It's doing one thing at a time. If you remember those days, before all this multitasking. Ultimately, slow is about doing everything not as fast as possible, but as well as possible.
Now you're a lecturer on the subject and have written many books, but your life wasn't always this slow-paced.
And I have a very clear before and after. Now I am never rushed, right? I get lots done, but I always have enough time, and I move through the world slow. But in the past, every moment of my day was a race against the clock. I was constantly running. Everything was a dash to the finish line. I could never get there. And I realized that I had lost my compass, that I was racing through my life instead of living it when I started reading bedtime stories to my son. And back in those days, I just couldn't slow down, so I would be speed reading Snow White. My version of Snow White was so fast, it had 3 dwarves, right? And I just found myself in this terrible, ugly conflict with my son, who was slow, like all children. He didn't understand time. He wanted to have a story read by his father, and his father was just stuck in fast forward. I was stuck in Roadrunner mode. And that was my wake-up call when I got to the point where I thought, I'd heard about a book called The 1 Minute Bedtime Story, so Snow White in 60 Seconds, and I remember thinking, I need that book now. What a great idea. Amazon drone delivery, right? But then I just thought, no, this can't be right. I'm taking what should be the most intimate, magical, tender moment of the day when a dad sits down to read a story to his boy. I was turning it into a battle, right? Between fast and slow. It was just insane. And I realized then that I had to slow down.
You speak about the immense change that happened in your life. And I'm curious, for all of us, which steps are the first that can be taken towards a slower living?
I have 3 fast tips, if you like, for slowing down. 3 tips to reconnect with your inner tortoise, if you like. The first is, number 1, is do less, right? We are all chronically trying to do way too many things. So look at your schedule for the week, pinpoint things that are not that important, and your schedule will be full of them, I guarantee it, and drop them. Open up more space and time for the things that really matter. Because when you say no to the stuff that doesn't matter, what you're really doing is saying a very big yes to the things that do matter. So number 1 is do less. Number 2, slow tip, is to do with technology. We all carry these smartphones, these little weapons of mass distraction around with us everywhere. Use the off button, turn off notifications. Take back control of your time and your attention. You decide when you look at your inbox, when your phone is turned off or notifications are switched off. So be sure that you're building a healthier relationship with your gadgets and screens. And then my slow tip number 3 is to incorporate some kind of slow ritual into your life. Now that could be anything from reading poetry to knitting, to sketching, to doing yoga, or whatever it is, something that just inoculates you, that vaccinates you against the virus of hurry, and build it into your day. It doesn't have to be 4 hours, it can be 4 or 5 minutes. And you just change the tone and the tenor of your day. You step out of the hurly-burly, you slow down, you come back in with that slow, calm spirit again.
I'm curious about the effects of this fast-paced living on our nervous system and bodies.
Human beings, we are not machines, we are not algorithms, we are not built to be always on, right? We need to stop, we need to slow down, we need to rest and recharge. And when we don't, when we get stuck in Roadrunner mode, where everything is a race against the clock, we pay a price. Our bodies pay a price, And I think that if you look around the world today, we live in a time of extraordinary affluence and richness, materially, but in many ways we seem less happy and less well. I think that our bodies suffer when we live too fast, right? And I think you can look at the problems of chronic illnesses, physical illnesses, mental health problems around the world, and I think one of the driving forces behind that is that we're living too fast.
Mm-hmm.
I think slowing down is there for everyone. It's not a privilege for the rich, even for people who are struggling economically, who have a lot of pressure work-wise, family-wise. There are always even small moments that you can carve out of slowness. You know, you come back from the office, say it's been a difficult, busy, stressful day. You park your car in front of your home, and instead of jumping straight out into the home, maybe you stay in your car for 2 or 3 minutes and just do a bit of deep breathing, or listen to some Sigur Rós, you know, my favorite band, who are great masters and magicians of slowness, right? And you just find that little groove again. You find a different, slower rhythm, and it can take 2 or 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long 1-hour session.